Yo, you're listening to Everyday Superpower, the place where we learn about body language, nonverbal communication, verbal communication, human dynamics, game, relationships, anything you want, everything in between. 2 links down in the description of this video. One of them links to the catalogue of body language, which is a playlist I've composed of my own material. It'll teach you how to read people through their subconscious, day by day, moment by moment behaviors outside of their own conscious awareness. You'll be able to read the minds of others. Second to that, if you want to learn about attracting, repulsion, if you want to learn about the attraction and repulsion cues and the magnetic ways you can subconsciously influence women into liking you a little better, to put it easy, click the link down in that description. It'll go to the Patreon. We'll be watching real life first dates. I'll show you how to internalize the right way of putting yourself forward and how to see as to whether she actually is that interested in you through her behaviors. Now, let's move on to this conversation. It's one I actually had not so long back. I had a few to drink, and I don't necessarily talk too much about non-verbal communication, especially with my fellow man, Pierre Liers. People tend to get a little bit uncomfortable if you go into too much depth. Well, first and foremost, maybe it's a little bit of a, what would you call it, a specialized interest on my behalf, so I wouldn't want to be so egocentric that I believe that other people would share the same interest in it as I am, because I am very fascinated in it, such as yourself. That's why you're here. But people get a little bit shook, and of course you can see that manifest in real time as you see them squirm and pacify themselves as you speak to them about how you can read people. Now, women are good to talk about. Women are good to talk to about this purely as they will start to find interest, and in a way I found a lot of women have sexualized the idea of being read, okay? Whereas most men don't read the cues. You are different and you can understand them on a deeper level than the general person. I had a few to drink. I was speaking to a couple of people, a man and a woman, and I spoke on this, and the woman found this very interesting, and the man says, "How do you know this? How do you know this?" Whereas the woman didn't shun it, didn't deny it, actually agreed with it in sense, even though she was completely oblivious to the concept itself. And what I'm going to talk about is the lips of a woman, right? I may have covered this briefly, but the lips of a woman are symbolic. They represent the lips of the labia, right? So that's a bold statement. Basically, I'm saying the lips of a woman are in correlation to her genital area. That's not to say that they are alike or aligned. I don't say that. But what I say is that men can be attracted to the lips of the woman, and the woman can pronounce and glamorize the lips of her face in order to sexually manipulate a man through one way or another. So in pop culture, thicker, fuller lips tend to be more sought after, right? When a woman is aroused, such as the man, blood flows to the erogenous areas. So blood flows to the private parts of a woman, flushing them red with colour and engorging them with blood. So as you can see, there is now a little bit of a correlation in regards to the full, plump and flushed lips of a woman on her face. There is some degree of correlation. Now, we might consciously not be aware of this, but through, generations upon generations upon generations of hardwiring, we subconsciously do have this association. Yes, it's a byproduct of replication. Most of our behaviors, if not all of them, if not for survival purposes, tend to come down to replication purposes. And survival, in the grand scheme of things, will be to procreate and to allow your genes to survive, right? To allow your bloodline to survive, right? So whenever you see some degree of behavior, whenever you see an action, whenever you see a business, whenever you see a team, try to look at it and perceive it through a sexualized view. As weird as that sounds, think to yourself, is there some sort of evolutionarily biological, procreational purpose behind what these human beings are doing that relates to some degree of sexual attraction? Is it sexually driven? Is there a driving force behind what we are perceiving, what we are seeing through whichever means, through the minute, if not the macro, large scale actions of these people? Is there some sort of sexual degree? I mean, I was amazed when I went to London. I don't know where you're based. I get a lot of viewers from America, but in London, our city, what would you call it? Our capital, our country capital. You should see the skyline. It is absolutely full of phallic display, phallic shaped buildings just cover the skyline, and whether that be conscious or subconscious, it is an overt display of sexual drive and indirectly power, because they have been able to construct such a monument, right? So I say that to say this: the lips of a woman can be very well symbolic and can be further enhanced by lipstick. So what's a sexualized lipstick? It's a bright red colour. Applying bright red onto the lips to attract men. But why does it attract men? Well, red is one of the most eye-catching colours, alright? In dispute with yellow. Some people say red is the most striking, which it has a parallel with fire, so I can see so. But some people say yellow is the most striking, although the most sickly to look at after a long time. So yellow doesn't tend to be a favoured colour. But bright red lips don't only catch the attention purely down to the fact they are red, but they are actually overtly sexualized, such as the red dress, due to the knock-on effect and the parallel it has with the blood flow and the correlation of the blood flow to the lips of the elsewhere. And what do you think it is symbolic of if we were to apply some degree of lip balm, lip moisturizer, to give a sleek and moist look to them lips? I will let you answer that question. Isn't this great food for thought? Do you tend to see straight men apply lip filler? You know, I don't know as to whether you would call it a surgical procedure, but the act of applying filler to the lips to make them, well, to make them larger. Do you see straight men doing that? No. But if you are to see a man doing that, which is relatively uncommon, well, in my world it is, but if you are to see a man doing that, they tend to be a homosexual. Because it's a feminine trait, it's a feminine behaviour. But why is it feminine? Because it's symbolic of the feminine genitalia, you see? Isn't there a great parallel? Isn't there a great symbolic meaning and influence of the lips of a woman? And women won't know that this is a reason. Like I said, I spoke to intelligent women I was speaking to, and she goes, I never knew that. I never knew that. And she said so in a manner as to which wasn't neglectful of my message, but almost of understanding and agreement. Because it makes sense, and why wouldn't it make sense? What is oral sex? You see? And on that note, on that food for thought, it's good to get back to a little bit of body language, because I know I've spoken a little bit of human dynamic and verbal communication as of recent, and this is my forte, speaking on the body and the subconscious influence the body has. If you want more, click like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Peace.